We'd like to welcome everybody out this evening to the American Fork City Council meeting on this wonderful day of September 28th of the year 2021. What a great day to have a council meeting. The agenda has been posted in various places and on the state website, and we'll follow the agenda as outlined. We'll begin the meeting with a public hearing. We're here to receive public comment regarding the vacation of apportionment of a public utility easement at 736 East Fleming Drive, lot number 8 of the Woodstock Estates Plat D subdivision. Anybody that'd like to make a public comment, please come forward. We would ask you to state your name. I'm going to ask you just to pull that or come right here. If you just pull that microphone around, that would be great. It's going to.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, this isn't about the subdivision, is that all right?
This is a public hearing with the subdivision.
So I was told I could just make a comment on...
You know what? We'll have you down a little bit later.
Okay.
Okay.
Just kidding. I'll be back.
Okay. Well, you had our hopes up. So, is there anybody else here that would like to make public comment regarding the item of the public hearing? Okay. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and we'll move on to our regular session. We'll follow the agenda. We'll first have a Pledge of Allegiance, after which we'll have an invocation by Councilmember Shelton, and then I will conduct the roll call. If everybody please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to gather together as a community and as leadership in such community. We're grateful, Father, for the sacred responsibility that is ours to be able to be entrusted by the residents of this amazing area, to be able to see how we can best serve them in life, safety, and quality of life issues. Father, we're deeply grateful for the right that is ours to be able to enjoy such freedoms, such as the right to assemble, the right to be able to have discourse and debates and civil discussions. Father, we recognize that such rights and freedoms don't come without such sacred sacrifice, and we're extremely grateful for those who make significant sacrifices on a daily basis, that we may be able to continue to have those rights and liberties protected. We ask Thee, Father, that we may be mindful as a community of such sacrifice, to treat that with the sacred honor and dignity that it deserves. We're grateful, Father, for the choice blessings of families in our community, and pray that we will look to make those decisions that would best serve those families in this community. And these things we ask and pray for in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I will now conduct the roll call. Councilmember Hunter.
Here.
Councilmember Shelton.
Here.
Councilmember Barnes.
Here.
For the record, Councilmember Carroll is away with her family, will not be here this evening. Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 2. This is a presentation by Timpanogos Post 419 of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And Craig, oh,
thank you. Yes, the Veterans of Foreign Wars is the oldest combat veterans organization in America, and we are organized or created to help veterans and also promote patriotism and help the community. And one of the things that we do is honor our first responders, fire and police. And so today, our winner of First Responder of the Year for the police is Sergeant Stewart Four. And for the fire department, Adam Casper, and the chief has a few words to say. So, come on, Adam.
You put me on the spot. So Adam's fire captain, and I put some words to this with some of his other colleagues. So Adam Casper has been in the fire service for over 15 years. His career has taken him many places, from the foundation of professional fire departments in Pleasant Grove and American Fork, as a paramedic with Gold Cross Ambulance, serving across the entire state of Utah, and to the ski slopes of Sundance as a ski patroller. His service has touched the lives of thousands of patients, protected property, and ecosystems in structure and wildland firefighting, and brought stability to communities and families through his ability to identify problems and find appropriate solutions. These are all qualities we look for in today's fire service. Adam repeatedly shows his composure and competency, whatever the circumstance. We are super proud of you and proud of this accomplishment. Congratulations.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 3. Now is the time for public comment period. If anybody would like to come forward and make public comment on anything that is concerning to you, we'd like to hear from you as a council, as the mayor, and as our staff. So we'd ask you to please state your name and keep your comments brief.
I'm back. Thank you for your time. So good evening. My name is Emma Clark, and I'm a representative from Charity Vision, which is an international nonprofit based out of Provo. And I'm really happy to be here to take just a few minutes of your time to explain the mission of Charity Vision and how it can change the lives of children here in American Fork. So Charity Vision's mission is to restore sight to individuals who are vision impaired through supporting sustainable local programs to provide affordable vision care. So much of our work is international, but over the last 5 years, we have been working to address the equally important vision issues that exist in the United States through our program called Sight Buddies. Research shows that 80% of a child's learning in their first 12 years happens through sight. And additionally, 25% of K through 12 students in the US have vision deficiencies. And these often go unaddressed in lower income children. And if we look at just the number of students using free and reduced lunch as an indicator of financial struggle, that's nearly 40% of the students in Utah. So far, Sight Buddies has served thousands of students around the state, but we don't want to stop there. We would love to foster a partnership with American Fork School District and its supportive parents to restore sight to needy children in your community. To make this partnership possible, residents could contact us and their school district. They could rally the support of PTA groups and or find a local ophthalmologist willing to sponsor a school. We at Charity Vision would be there to help every step of the way and would eventually provide prescription glasses free of charge to any children who do not pass the free vision screenings that are co-sponsored by us and a local eye doctor. So I know I have very limited time, so I've brought some materials to leave behind that explain better our purpose and the process to go through to be partners with Sight Buddies. We made a brochure, we made it extra large to remind you that this is about vision and helping those who are vision impaired to have learning more accessible to them. And the other is a small flyer. This is all about our volunteer opportunities, which are great for youth groups, for schools, clubs, families even. We have so many opportunities to be involved, and we just wanted that wonderful city of American Fork to be more aware of those opportunities. So on your way out, if anyone would like to grab a flyer or a brochure, you're more than welcome to. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to make public comment? I will allow, if there's somebody here to make public comment for item number 4A, I'll allow it at the time, so you know. But if there's any other public comment, we'd have you come forward this time. Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment period and we'll move on to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to just congratulate Sergeant Four and Captain Casper for receiving the awards that they received. They were well-deserved, fantastic members of our police and fire departments, and they really do exemplify the professionalism and the expertise that exists in our fire and police departments, so congratulations to them. We are missing our Planning Commission Chairman, John Wolfenden, tonight. Normally he comes to our meetings, but tonight he wishes to be excused. He had a death in the family, and so he's attending that tonight, and our condolences go to him and his family for that. So, just want to report also, last night we had a mental health town hall meeting with Dr. Christy Kane, and it was a fantastic presentation and incredible information about mental health in our community and how it affects each one of us. And Miss American Fork, Aubrey Modal, also spoke, and she did incredibly well. She's so poised, and she's a fantastic Miss American Fork, represents our city well. So we really appreciate them coming to present to us. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. All right, we'll now move on to council reports, and I'll start with Councilmember Tater.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any pressing items to cover tonight, but I have been asked a favor by a fellow council member, because apparently he can't sing, to recognize the good mayor and his birthday this evening. So I think we're going to try and do something we haven't done in here before, and that is get everyone to sing happy birthday to the mayor, you know. So let's try a C. How about a G? Okay, I'll try and get close. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mayor. Happy birthday to you. That was so painful, huh, Mayor?
Well, I don't know about for you. I've never felt so loved and so safe with all these officers in the same room. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. I will now move on to Councilmember Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to echo what our city administrator David has said about these officers and all the officers. We are truly a blessed community because of these two organizations, because of the VFW and all the other organizations, as well as just good individuals who do so much good in this community that goes unnoticed in many, many cases. So we appreciate you and all that you do for our city. I'm also going to echo what David said about Xander is his name. I call him Wolf, John Wolfenden's grandson. I think I looked and he just turned 8 this year, if my calculations were correct. He has been, for many months, very, very sick, and passed away just recently. So thoughts and prayers go out to his mother Erin and to John and Janet, grandparents, and other family members. When I moved here in 1979, they lived up the street, and they were the first people to welcome us to American Fork. And that's been a few years, and we're still good friends. So appreciate all he's done for the city, the service that both of them has rendered to the band for many, many years as band parents, and other things that they've done. And John, of course, on the Planning Commission. That's enough.
Okay, thanks for that report. Councilmember Shelton.
Thanks, Mayor. I apologize, this is probably a couple weeks late, but I was out of town a couple weeks ago on business and wasn't able to make these comments, but just needed to make sure that I had the opportunity to recognize Mr. Colburn and the amazing contribution he had made to our city. I remember my very first council meeting that I attended was because of him as a scout, and I remember the emerald green carpet in the room still. The layout was a little bit different. It's when we used to light the recorder and let them sit up on the dais with us, I believe. I'm joking about that, but they were. And Dick is one person who, as they talked about him being a transplant from California, we would greatly benefit as a community if all the California people like him moved to our community. Just ingrained in our community. And a big heartfelt thanks to our public service, our fire and police, for helping to honor that memory of Dick. Just an amazing mentor and a great friend that I couldn't have asked for anything different, and it was really special to have him swear me in twice as a council member. So it's a big loss to our city, those that knew him and the influence that he had. So anyway, thank you, Mayor, and for the rest of the staff for making that a special time to remember him.
Thank you for that report. Councilmember Hunter.
I'd just like to echo those remarks. Perhaps just pointing out that that's what makes this community so great. Everything from a birthday song in the council chambers to memories of those who've passed and have done so much, whether they're 8 years old or whether they're older than that. And I just, while it's not a council assignment, I'd like to just maybe recognize our fire. And I'm a part of an organization that's helping prepare for the U.S. Nationals, which is the Serve Pro Firefighter Challenge. Will be coming up later this month, in 3 weeks from now, up in Sandy, and our awesome fire crew has been they've won it the last 2 years, and I expect that to continue. Chief Brims has assured me of that, and that's I'm not going to put him on the spot, but it does coincide a little bit with the mental health for heroes. That is the foundation that is benefiting from this year's, and I suspect ongoing. Mental Health for Heroes is a charity that was founded by Sonny and Reno Mahe following the death of their daughter, and they recognized the traumatic process that it is to be one of our first responders, and I just wanted to recognize the men and women that are here tonight. And I expect another championship coming back to American Fork. So thank you for what you do, and we support you, and I'm excited for that. So that's my report.
Okay. Thank you for that report. You know, we should have done this before everybody left the room. It's not very often we have so many of our personnel, our public safety personnel in the room at one time. So I would hope this could be conveyed by the message, and hopefully conveyed through the heart as well, of the support that you have up here with all of our staff. And I think if I could just say, beyond even the public safety, it would be our entire staff that serves our city. Whether we're putting out a fire, we're taking down somebody that's not here for a good purpose, or we're delivering good, clean water, or making sure somebody's toilet flushes and it flushes right. It takes a team. And I appreciate all the team of American Fork City. And we're all in this together, that's for sure. One item I would like to just mention as well, and I had the opportunity today to attend what I thought was more of a meet and greet turned into a debate, not by our choosing. It was what it was designed to be from the beginning. And we had the chance to meet with about almost 30 kids at the high school. Councilmember Hunter and I did, and other candidates that are eligible to vote for the first time. And so we had, it was a good time. Yeah, they gave us questions and we had 15 seconds to actually answer them. So it brought me back to when with my grandkids. I can do I'm rapid fire with my grandkids. So Ryan and I had a little bit of advantage with that. So anyway, that is the mayor's report. We'll now move on to the common consent agenda. We have 5 things listed. Has there been any noted changes, Stephanie, that you are aware of on the minutes? Okay.
Mayor, I'd move approval. I would move approval of the common consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Shelton. And I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Okay, item number 1 on the action items is a review and action on a Class B beer license for Little India located at 987 West, 500 North, Suite 101. It's down there. I was talking to the owner. It's, so you know, it's down in near the Costco area. So,
Mayor, I'd move to approve a Class B beer license for Little India located at 987 West, 500 North, Suite 101.
okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor.
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Hunter, and I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, item number 2A is a review and action on the final subdivision plats for Greenwood Creek A and B located in the area of 900 North, 640 West in the R1 9000 residential zone. I spoke with a couple, well, at least one, now there's 2. They were going to make public comment with this. I told them that I would let them make it prior to this. I knew there would be a lot of drama in between. We might miss out on it. So if you just please state your name.
My name is Josh Bushman, and I live directly across from this new development. Just wanted to point out there were multiple codes and standards and specs that were worked around to make this subdivision work. There's streets that are not lined up. There's roads on angles that are beyond the allowable angle. My family's quality of life is going to be impacted by this. And so what we'd asked for in the planning meeting previously that was turned down was just for them to look at these other designs that could accommodate roads lining up, streets going through. So just wanted again to just point that out, that, you know, with a street pointing directly at my front door and a street just up the road that's pointing at a neighbor's driveway, we're going to be negatively impacted. So just wanted to see if there was something we could, reach out to you guys, see if there's something you could do to help this, maybe some other designs looked at. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I'm the one who has the driveway that goes right across the street from one of the roads there.
Can you please state your name, sir?
I'm Scott Fambro, sorry.
Okay,
I live in 996 North, 640 West, which is directly across from that street. I don't know, it's 1000 North, if you can see it over there. Imagine yourselves, I built a house, back in 2009 right there, and there's a street down the street, and we were thinking, when we built the house there, we thought the street down the street was going to go straight through. So we weren't anticipating that we were going to have a street right across the street from our driveway. We have a boy who's half deaf, and I got a daughter who's blind in one eye. And when you try to back out over the last 2 weeks when they tried to slam this through the planning committee, I've been trying to look to see if I can even see the road because they already have it kind of graded out. And it sits right in the blind spot of my car. So it makes it very difficult to see. There are two things, in the oncoming traffic on that street is going to come right down to my driveway. So when I back up, I'm going to be backing up right into that traffic. That's the problem we have with the safety of that area. Now the codes, there are two codes that are kind of in question here, in my opinion. The road has to have a perpendicular type of angle. If it varies within 10 degrees, it's got to have specific approvals from the city engineer. Last time it was in suspect they actually had that, and I don't know if they even mentioned they had it when they did the meetings and the final review. But that was kind of in suspect. If it doesn't go 90-degree angles, it makes it a little more difficult to see out of my driveway. The second one is, there's a code in there, let's call it, which one is it? I've got them written down here. I think it's 15.01.1850, which says you're not supposed to put the center line of the street anywhere close to or within 50 feet of the driveways or the residential areas. That can be in question which way you see it, but for me, we interpret it the fact that you can't put your driveway right in the middle of an intersection. And that's the complaint that we have. We wish we could just see the other plans. The developer said he has 16 different plans that they put together before, but they didn't want us to see them. So we're just trying to make sure that we can get our voice heard, get it documented, so if there's any problems with safety, we can come back onto the city for the approvals. That is what, and I would just rather review the other 16 other plans to make sure we can see that, hey, if this is the only one you have, it's okay, because we know they're going to build across the street, right? That's a subdivision they're going to build in. But if that's the only one that they can have, then it's good, but it's going to put us at risk. That's my concern, and I just want to make sure all you guys have that opportunity to review that when you make your decision.
Just for the record, we're here to review what was passed on in an approval process, not to take another plan and go over it and
Sure,
and
but I just want to make
anything.
sure that before we approve the thing, I'd rather make sure that we make sure it's safe for my family and everything like that,
Right,
as a concerned citizen. Most of the streets in the area, there are some that have a driveway on it, but the houses were built after the road had already been put in place. Ours is an existing home, and therefore we just want to make sure our voice is heard, so we don't get a street right across from our driveway.
Okay. All right. All right. Did I see Rebecca come in? Or who's going to be the best to talk about this staff-wise? I'm missing Adam. So which one? So, okay. So I'm gonna have. Does the developer want to be? Do you want to be heard? All right. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm Roger Dudley. I'm the engineer for the project. We have had several discussions with the neighborhood and also with staff concerning this idea of the intersections. We brought with us this evening Ryan Hales, who is traffic engineer and who actually was instrumental in writing the code for the city of American Fork. And he's probably better qualified than myself to talk about the traffic issues. He has a PowerPoint presentation. If you'd like to take the time to do that, we'd be happy to address that in terms of the technology and the technical aspects of these intersections. We feel it's a good plan. We did, between us and the staff, we went through several iterations of plans and how these streets could intersect. We don't share the concern that the neighbors have expressed in terms of how these streets intersect driveways on the other side. We have a number of examples, excuse me, I'm losing my voice, in the very neighborhood where this is the exact same scenario, where driveways are positioned across the street from intersections. So be happy to spend some time. Mr. Hales is here and is well qualified to answer any questions about the code, if you want to take the time to do that.
You know, we'll just, we'll leave him as a reference if we want to call on him.
Sure.
As far as any new material, I think that we received that through an email.
Okay.
But as a PowerPoint presentation, if the Planning Commission has not viewed it, I don't think it's appropriate that we view that.
Okay.
Okay. But we can speak of it, but you did send it out, I think, correct? So the council's had the ability to look at it. I just didn't want it included in the packet because I felt like it was something that the Planning Commission had not viewed as well.
That'd be fine, Mayor. We're here to address those issues in any detail that's necessary, and happy to do that or answer any questions that the council may have about the project itself.
Yeah, let me let's have Rebecca. Rebecca, can you speak to this, or Scott, and then we'll just open it up to the questions from, you know, as we call upon.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll defer a lot to Rebecca, but I just want to let the council know we communicated quite a bit through the process on this subdivision, so I'm aware of the issues, but I'd like to just kind of defer to Rebecca. I'll chip in if there's anything to add, but she interacted primarily more than I did with the developers, with the residents, and so I'd like to just kind of defer to her, but there may be, reserve the right to chip in if something comes to mind. So.
Okay, so couple things, you know, just overall discussion, and this was brought up in the Planning Commission meeting. So kind of the order of operations for intersections and alignments and so forth. The first is, you know, if, you know, in the access management, that is the basis of the code. The idea is to line up things that are across the street from each other, and that's kind of the first priority. So line up streets, line up driveways, you know, try to keep things across the street so they're not having counter movements. The second thing is if you can't do that, you try to make it at least 50 feet off so that it's got a little bit of movement for driveways. Road accesses like 960 North and 950 North, we have actually two codes, but the more restrictive is 150 feet apart. So one of the original concepts showed 960 and 950 a little bit closer to each other, but I never saw one where they lined up. And so we said, you know, you need to make sure to meet the minimum access for a local street, which is 150 feet. So they have done that. This plan is 150 feet off. The driveway on the south is 54 feet off. The driveway on the north lines up. As to the skew in the roads, there is the ability for the city engineer to look at the plans and based on what we're dealing with, to accept or deny if there's a skew that's slightly larger than what's allowable, you know, what's recommended in the code. On that north, it's slightly larger than 10, but there's also a curve in the road, so it's kind of hard to tell, you know, at that point where, you know, if it's, you know, what exactly that is, but it comes in really close to 10 degrees. And then there's a skew in the back. That road is an acute angle we felt that because it's a horseshoe, I did not have concerns as far as safety on that road. So those were the two things that were basically city engineer review. Is there a concern? I didn't feel there was a concern. We've worked with Hales Engineers and the developer to verify these, and in their opinion, there's no concern, so we agree with that.
Just one other thing is, as we looked and reviewed through the code, there is a difference in certain places between requirements and recommendations. This meets all the requirements of the code.
All right. Okay, thank you. We might have you just sit close here until we resolve this. Is there anybody from the Planning Commission that would like to participate in this discussion? I mean, we don't see you here very often, so we think there must be a purpose.
Yeah, John asked if I would come. Normally he comes, but since he's over there, and I'm glad to have Chris here too. We just wanted to make sure you understood. Sometimes the minutes don't convey everything. And some of the reasons that we recommended approval of this, for one, with the 16 homes, like Rebecca said, I've lived in a horseshoe like that, and it's very little traffic going in and out. So to me personally, that driveway intersection won't be seeing a lot of traffic other than those 16 homes and visitors, which is much less than a regular intersection. I just wrote down all these things, and now I don't know where I put them. I'll have to go by my memory. I think there are a couple I'm going to take this off. There are a couple misunderstandings of the code that I hope can be cleared up a little bit. The first one is with through streets, where they said, where possible, make streets align. Through streets doesn't just mean making a T, making a plus sign where everything lines up. Through streets is intended to mean connectivity, so that we don't have cul-de-sacs, making it so that we have to go out and around and around and around and then back in. Through streets means allowing for connectivity, and that is accomplished here. It's allowing, one side of the neighborhood to get to the other without having to go around. The other code that I think is misunderstood is the table, and I can pull that up.
What's up, Christine?
Oh yeah, great.
Good at this.
Yep, he's quick. Okay. So their concern is that their driveway is within 50 feet. If you look at that last column, minimum residential access spacing, and you go to the bottom on a local street, it says 50 feet. The way that that's being misunderstood is that they're saying my driveway has to be 50 feet from the center of that intersection. And that's not what this table is saying. We're talking about minimum residential access spacing. So access between this residence and this residence, not between this and an intersection. Each of those is between apples to apples, right? So between homes, it has to be at least 50 feet between driveways. It's not saying it has to be at least 50 feet between a driveway and a street. So if you look at so the title says recommendations for minimum signalized public street, and you're seeing these on the left-hand column there. Signalized public street, private access spacing. So these are the spacing between signals, between streets, between commercial accesses, and between residential accesses. Does that make sense? So we're not worried about the space between a driveway and an intersection. And I'm sure, in my neighborhood, I can think of many instances where a street goes right in, intersects another street as a T, and on that T is either a driveway or a front door or a home. That's a normal thing all over the city. I don't see that as a safety hazard. Everyone, when they come to a T, they turn, they don't keep going straight. especially on this intersection where they've only had 100 feet to speed up. You know what I mean? I don't know what that, maybe it's 200 feet. I don't know. So those two areas of code, I don't believe that this is in opposition to any of our code. Trying to remember what else was on. I think that's it. We, as a planning commission, and I'm sure you as city council, want to make sure that each home is in a safe place. And I know that there's concern with change and with possibilities of things that could happen with change, but we see this as a reasonable option. If you move that street so that it doesn't line up exactly with the driveway, you're lining it up with something else. You're lining it up with a front door, maybe. You know, yes, there are lots of iterations that this could be, but that's not our role to dictate to a developer what their other options are. Our role is to look at what has been presented, and if it meets code, which it does, then we have a recommendation for approval. So.
Thank you. Chris, you want to add anything?
Just to reiterate, Christine did a great job. You know, from my perspective, this angle that we're talking about, I actually think if you're coming out of that, you have better view because it's not an obtuse angle, it's the acute angle, right? So, but whether that's part of the code or not, I know it's close with that 10 degrees, but just want to make sure really clear, even though it is recommendations, that table is a table from like to like. It's not a matrix. If it would be, it would be set up that way. And so that was been a big hinge point on the opinions of all the parties involved. So I want to make sure that it was very clear that you had our recommendations. We've looked at it and we feel that it is very much within the standards as a recommendation, but we feel like it meets it. So,
okay, thank you. All right, council. We've got a lot of people we can ask questions to get to settle on a good decision here tonight. So where would you like to? Can I say one 30-second comment? Sure.
So it seems the developers got lots and lots of voices as to why this works. This benefits the developer greatly to not align this road. You're the only voice we've got. We've got our untrained expertise in this. Lots of voices as to why working around different codes, you know, you're our voice. So that's what we're asking for. Okay. Thanks.
Just a couple of comments, Mayor. First off, Rebecca, welcome back. It's good to see you. Glad to see you in good health and able to work. And then Chris and Christine, great to see you guys as well. You know, obviously, I take the comments you made not lightly at all. Obviously, when a resident has concerns, understand that that's what we're here in the elected body of a group of residents in our community. I don't think any one of us would take any of that lightly. The hard thing that I have found over the 10 years of serving is where does that line of fairness come into play? Because you've got talked about earlier where Dick swore me in for my first time, and I remember my phone went off literally as I was taking the oath of office, and it was a resident who already called me. She didn't give me 2 seconds on the job. I already called me and complained that there was an issue with the driveway, with the neighbor parking in front of it, and she couldn't get access and be able to get out. And I guess that's why codes and certain things exist, right? To be able to try to, for lack of a better term, keep the peace. And that's our job, is to look at those codes and where they come into play. For me, as I look at the current codes, we don't have the luxury of changing that on a whim, nor would that be fair to be able to do based upon projects. And Christine and I happen to live in the same neighborhood, and I read the minutes and I saw her empathy she had for you guys, because she had a project, she was very much opposed of in our neighborhood. And unfortunately, didn't go that direction she would have liked to as a resident. But I look at my own neighborhood, just within a 2-block radius, I can count 4 or 5 of these same issues of the driveway lines up where we live there. Now, I built a new home, and I've lived there for 10 years, and I am not aware of an issue that exists. Now, I know that's hard for me to maybe say to you, and I don't know this area as well, I don't drive up there. I don't know if any of us really do. I know that the extent of the development we're looking at is much smaller than what I saw from the development up in my area. And so, based on what the current code is, and based upon just personal experience and what we can legally do, I don't know if we have another option but to legally approve what's currently there. But that's just my 2 cents about what I've got on it.
I really appreciate you gentlemen coming down and doing this, and we are your voice, and we have to be able to have backing on why we choose to do the things we do, and we can't arbitrarily, make decisions just, based on quick opinion, and you understand that. I'm not telling you something you don't know. It's a difficult situation to have your home and place where your family is and feel like your safety is threatened and come to a meeting like this and hope for a result. Unfortunately, the only thing that we have as your voice are codes that we can stand behind and backing that we can use as a basis for decision making without being arbitrary. Unfortunately, I'm thinking of my own neighborhood, and I know 2 driveways out of the end of my street go right, or 1 out of my street go right into a home, and then Fleming Drive comes straight across and goes right into another home. So the situation exists all over. It doesn't mean that I'm not sympathetic of your plight, but we have to stand by the code and the rules that exist, and that's not an answer you're looking to hear, but that's the only thing that, it's not an arbitrary decision that we can pull out of a hat and make. So I don't know, I've read through the minutes and I appreciate everything that's been said, and I'm sympathetic of those same things, but this is not in violation, and I don't know, I have a hard time going away from it.
Any other comments?
Mayor, I'll just comment. I would like to thank the Planning Commission. Having come from that, I know we heard that often about talking about split decisions and why those are important, and we take that, we've read, I'm sure every one of us has read those minutes, we've looked at it. I drove up there. In fact, your next door neighbor's Brandon Smith? Perfect. So I'm familiar with that area, but I happen to live in a similar situation where I think on my street alone there's 4 roads that come and tie into, and it just so happens that's the nature of my situation. I live in a home that's 60 years old, so there's some the code is designed to obviously correct that, or to not correct it, but to establish that, and that's what we're going off of, and in my opinion that's what we have to choose. I think it's the split decision isn't something we take lightly, and I think that without a split decision, it would indicate there wasn't empathy for the value in, man, we wish there could be another option. It sounds like staff's done a great job in reviewing numerous times the different options that they felt like would make sense within the code. And I'd like to commend you for that, so thank you for your time.
All right, council, if there's no other.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plats for the Greenwood Creek A and B located in the area of 900 North, 640 West in the R1 9000 residential zone, and to authorize the mayor and city council to sign the plat and accept the dedications with instructions of the city recorder withhold recording of the plat, subject to all conditions identified in the public record associated with the September 8th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton, second by Councilmember Hunter. And I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Tater.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for being here. Thank you for the time.
Okay, we'll now move on to item number 3. It was the purpose behind our public hearing at the beginning of the meeting, is to review an action on an ordinance approving a vacation of apportionment of a public utility easement at 736 East Fleming Drive, Lot 8 of the Woodstock Estates Plat D subdivision. We had no public comment.
Mayor, I'd move to adopt the ordinance approving the vacation of a portion of public utility easement at 736 East Fleming Drive, lot number 8 of the Woodstock Estates Plat D subdivision.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor and a second by Councilmember Hunter, and I'll call for a vote.
Just a quick question, sorry, Mayor. Just out of curiosity, I know that we've got some areas that we've got like a 15-foot easement on some of these lots. I know we've talked in the past about reducing some of these down. Is that something we see maybe coming forward with the advance of technology and slip lining and things of that nature, where we can move some of those sewer line easements in a little bit more?
Maybe I'll start with just a general question, because I think, Councilman, your question's a little more general than this specific item, right? If there's any questions on this specific item, probably Rebecca's probably the best one to handle it. But just generally speaking, this is, I want to say, was it maybe 2 years ago, I think, ish, that we brought before you a change, which on back sides of lots and on the side of lots, it used to be 10 feet on each lot, so which would be 20 total, and we reduced it. A lot of the reasons why we felt that was appropriate were some of the very reasons that you're discussing. It ended up being more property that really restricted some of the private property more than was needed. It's generally a fairly rare situation that we as the city want to use those side and back easements anyway. So I think that was the right and appropriate decision. This particular one's a little different in that there was an easement that was on this lot talking about surface drainage that none of us could figure out why it was there. We had our sewer, it's been there a long time, long before any of us were here, probably anyone in this room. And so we looked it over, had Ashton from our sewer storm drain go look at it. Perfect. Couldn't find any reason why it was completely not in use anymore, so.
Great, no, just thanks for the explanation.
Yep.
I know we've talked about it in the past, so thank you.
Yep.
And, you know, I would excuse you guys to the back row if you want to after this, too. So, I have a motion and a second, and I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor?
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes?
Aye.
I just know that's where you feel comfortable, so I think we're out of the engineering here. All right, item number 5 is a review and action on a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of intent with Windy City Development LLC for the purchase of property. Is there any questions on this parcel? We have our agents with us that could help maybe answer some questions that
We're not skip forward, didn't we, Mayor?
did we? You know what, we did. I clipped number 4. I'm going to come back to the next. So review. We're going to start with number 4. Review and action on a purchase agreement for property at approximately 975 East Harvey Boulevard.
Mayor, I would move to approve the purchase agreement for property located at 975 East Harvey Boulevard and authorize the mayor to sign the purchase agreement and all other necessary documents.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
I'll second that.
All right.
Good hallelujah.
Can I third it?
No, that one's mine. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
All right. Maybe we'll sing again on this one. I don't know. So I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor, second for Councilmember Hunter, and I'll call for a vote.
Sorry, another question. Just on the budget impact, I know it just said it's $1 million, but it'd be nice to know, is that just coming all from bond proceeds, or are we using some impact fees? It'd be nice to know how that $1 million is broken up.
So yeah, this would be bond proceeds that will
100%.
help us with that, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Barnes. Aye. Councilmember Hunter.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilman Carroll's absent, but I know where she'd vote on this one too. So, okay. Thanks for keeping me in line. Now we'll move on to item Number 5 is a review and action on a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of intent with Windy City Development LLC for the purchase of property.
Mayor, I would move to adopt the resolution approving.
No, go ahead.
I move to adopt the resolution approving a letter of intent with Windy City Development LLC for the purchase of property and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents for the purchase of the property. And I'll throw a hallelujah in there as well.
Is there something you'd like to add?
Could I add something very quickly?
You bet.
Mayor, can we get a second on the motion?
I'll
And
second.
then open it for the comment?
Okay.
Bugger.
Got a second?
Thank you.
Well, we're all fighting for seconds, so I do have a motion and a second. Okay.
Okay, if I could, I just ask that we make sure that the language of the resolution includes that you have not only the ability to sign the letter of intent, but also a purchase and sale agreement that is subject to ratification and approval of the city council if you'd like to come back and review it again.
That's the language in the resolution, exactly.
Is that the language right now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm good then, thank you.
Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second.
Other question, just again, the budget impact, I'd like to know the breakdown on that. Impact fee versus bond proceeds, this all bond proceeds that's coming in here? Or
No,
the,
this would be mostly impact fees with a little bit of bond proceeds for the public safety portion.
Okay, so, is it possible just to get that in the next administrative report, just kind of how that
Sure.
breaks down? And which impact fee it's coming out of, if it's public safety or if it's parks?
Yep.
I wasn't sure if it's a combination of it, that'd be helpful.
Okay. All right. I'm going to call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes?
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor?
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 6 is a review and action on a purchase agreement for property located at 187 North, 300 East.
Mayor, I'd move to, where am I? Recommend approval of the purchase agreement.
Okay. Have a motion by
I'll
Councilmember Hunter, second by Councilmember Taylor. And I'll call for a vote.
Just one more question.
Councilmember Hunter?
Sorry,
Is that-
Mayor. Seems like we're skipping the discussion there. So, just one more point, if we could also on this one, impact fee, include that as well. I'm guessing this is impact fees.
Yeah, it is.
But
Impact fee.
just we buying a lot of real estate, just like to know where those numbers come in and what is left in the balance afterwards. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Councilmember Barnes?
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 7 is a review and action on authorizing the mayor to sign a notice of approval for a quitclaim deed for Rockwell Ranch Owners Association. Any questions for staff on this?
Mayor, I would move to authorize the mayor to sign the notice of approval. To sign the notice of approval of the Rockwell Ranch Owner Association, Inc. quick claim deed.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Shelton, and I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Barnes?
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Okay, item number 8 is consideration and action to enter into a closed session, discuss items described in Utah State Code 52-4-204 and 52-4-205. Do I have a motion to go into a closed session?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilmember Barnes,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Shelton. I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton?
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes?
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor?
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter?
Aye.
For the public, we will convene downstairs into a closed session, and when we're done with that, we will close the regular city council meeting from the downstairs.